coming up on today's episode.
Good morning, YouTube. Here with you at the bench once more. I do get in here every now and then in the winter. Not very often, though. It's kind of not mandatory, but if I get in here, I like to run the heater, the little room heater I have, and like I said, it keeps it nice and warm in here. Right now, I've got the heat from the furnace kicking, or not kicking, blowing basically my face, and it feels cold. Now that's just the way heat pumps work. Anybody that has one knows that. But anywho, be that as it may, we have the antique as is shown on the thumbnail on the bench, and I did not have to buy this. Well, I did buy it, but it's when I bought this was a long time ago, and this was one of the treasures that I saved in the move and brought to Seymour from when I lived in Vivi. And like I said, it says in the thumbnail, this is an IDE interface, and as such it basically is pretty much worthless today, but it does have these two hard drive bays, as you can see there, and I just happen to have a SATA hard drive, and of course they're the same size, but they don't have a SATA interface, obviously. Now, what I have in mind for it, I've got to take this whole apart here so I can get to it, but this will plug into this, I believe. Yes. This plugs into here, like that, and that gives us two power ports that will hook into a 3.5-inch drive like this. Now, obviously I don't need the rest of the stuff in there, and this has come out, but my plan is, and I don't know how well you can see it because I don't know how good I can do this. I've not tried it yet, but I want to get this stuff out of the way as much as possible and try to slide this drive in here, and it should slide right in there. I don't know that it'll slide great in there, but it will slide in there. And there you can see that one of the connectors would go there and the other on the other side. Now there's not much room in there when you put this on, as you can see, but my idea is basically, if I can get this out of the way to show you, if we look at this, the data connector connects right there, and I think I can make a hole in the back of this, fairly large hole on each side for each drive, and just basically put the data connector on and have a unit that will have powered 3.5-inch SATA drives with access to the cables coming out the back, and from there I plan for my initial hookup. I have some other goodies coming in the mail, but for my initial setup here on this, I want to take the HP. You remember the HP that we put the CMOS battery in, and run cables out the back of that. The SATA cables are in the back of the HP motherboard, so it's a real easy task to run those out through those cooling holes or whatever, you know, slot holes. It doesn't matter which it is, but they will run out there, and this can sit next to it and plug those cables in there, and we will have presto changeo, 3 SATA hard drives, 3.5-inch, that can be used with that open media vault, and that should make a decent amount of storage. you know, I'm just kind of obsessed with this at the moment, and I don't know why, but I am. And like I said, I have some obviously some work to do on this. I would like to find right angle connectors for these, because I believe that would give us a little bit more room. I don't know that. Let me try to plug one in and see how far it's going to stick out. There you can see it's in there now, and I think that will probably stick out. In fact, I know it will. You can see it's going to stick out too far. So I think the right angle ones would be the ones to get with that. And like I said, if we can do that, of course, all this IDE stuff will be gone away. One of these will be gone. I'm not sure which one I'm going to take away, and we'll have the right angle connectors on this, so to where everything will fit pretty good. And I put my my end back on it, and like I said, that will be a nice, still sealed, basically sealed unit. And that's basically making use of this that's not really useful for anything else. And I kind of like doing that with stuff. And along down the roadways, I have some plans also for another one. And I'm not doing this for me personally, as far as using for my own use. Now this one I may, because I think it's kind of a neat thing to have. We'll put that over there out of the way just a minute, and let me get down here on the floor. There's another thing I want to show you that I found out in the garage also. And this was another thing that made the trip. You guys, I don't know if you've ever even seen one of these before. This is made to house, I believe, up to 4 ID, or no ID, I don't know what, I guess it was probably ID at the time, but it can be used for SATA because it's not got any interface. Basically it has power, as you can see here, and we'll have to use the same type of connectors. But my thought is, if I put 2 drives up here, I have all this room back here that I can install a Raspberry Pi 5 with a SATA hat, is what they call them, that will connect to 2 more drives and give me a whole nother NAS here. I just thought that would be kind of neat to make. I don't know, you know, it's not the it's not great, but I mean it's kind of cool. You know, again, it's just stuff I like to play around with, I guess, is basically what I'm saying. But it's got a fan, it's got a power supply, and like I said, it's made for basically, like I said, I believe, and I can't be sure of that, but I think, well, I can't get it out right now. Not a big deal, but I'm thinking that would fit 4, you know, if you put them all the way up the front and put them all the way at the back, I think it would fit 2 of them lengthwise in there. I can't be sure, but again, it's not a big deal because I'm not going to do that. But like I said, it would be plenty big enough to house two, you know, one above each other there, and put that Raspberry Pi with the hat on it in the back. And like I said, it does have some kind of interface down there. I don't know if you can see down here. That looks almost like, you know, I started to say SATA, but that wouldn't make any sense. I don't know exactly what this was for. I don't think there's any markings on it. No. It might be on the back. High pot. Well, that's just a thing from, obviously made in China. It does have on-off switch, or on switch anyway. I don't know about off, but it does have some on switches there, and that's kind of weird the way they work. In fact, I don't even know how they do work. Oh, I think maybe, well, I'll start to say press one or the other. But that's not a big deal. Like I said, this is down the road. I kind of want to do this one first, this little Netgear. I think that would be kind of a neat addition to the HP. and that would give me, as much storage as I'll ever need here. And I still have the D-Link in there running, and not to mention the Buffalo. Now the Buffalo came in the other day. I forget now what day it came in, but it was Friday, I think, Friday or Saturday. But anyway, it came in, and I opened it up, and it was supposed to have the hard drive caddies in with it, and they were not there. So I messaged the seller, and he said he forgot, whatever. He would put them in the mail today, and so hopefully, I'll get those later on, and I can go ahead and continue with on that and see how that one works. I may end up using that rather than the D-Link. I don't know. We'll see. And I've thought about using the D-Link with the Raspberry Pi as well, but so I think this one here is better suited because it's got obviously a bigger case. It would house the Raspberry Pi and like I say, that top hat and things like that. Where that D-Link would have a little more problem doing that. So anywho, that's just a look at some of the things here on this Monday morning that I'm playing around with. And when I say play around with, that's exactly what I'm doing. I enjoy playing around with stuff like this, and I've got a bunch of stuff out in the garage, and I'm thinking about going through some of that. I've got some old Commodore computers. I've got a Radio Shack computer out there. I believe I've got a Texas Instrument TI-99 4A, I think, out there. I did have. I don't know if I still have it, but so anyway, like I said, that's German, looks like to me. Don't know what it's there for, but it needs to come off. So we'll take it off. There. We're not using it for what it's intended for anyway, so. Like I say, I probably want to take this apart and get it to where I can basically take all these cables out and get it ready for, and I've got to find those, like I said, those right angle power connectors. I know they make them. I know they make the right angle, and I've got the right angle cables for the SATA data cable. So once I can find some of these, now why I say I know they have them because Adele has them, so I know they make them. So it looks to me like 4 screws pretty much gets that out, and those screws don't look like typical Phillips. They kind of look like a hex head of some kind. So I may have to look into that a little deeper. But like I say, I think this just basically unbolts from the plastic part of it. I guess that's plastic. Yeah, it's plastic. And basically slides out of the chassis, or the opening there, I believe, because I don't think there's anything on the other end. Well, there's the network interface, but I think most of that stuff comes out with the... Well, there's another screw right there, so maybe I have to unscrew that one as well. But like I said, I think that'd be the first order of business, getting this ready for the SATA hard drives. And once I do that, then, that's just the way that will work. Man, I wish I could get that out of there. See if I can get these little pliers over here. I don't want to mess this drive up because it is a good drive. There it is. Now I just want to measure this and see. No, that won't take 2. So it just made for actually two hard drives, I guess. So that's kind of weird. But like I said, it is what it is. It'll suit our purposes, like I say, perfectly. 2 of them in there, and that'd be the way to go. So that'd be something interesting to play around with. Now, I don't know, like I said, if there's any more of these around anywhere, but I'm sure some kind of a hard drive enclosure could be found. In fact, if this works out as I hope it does, I'm thinking about making some like this to sell or something. If I can find a good supply of these, and then it would be just pretty easy to do. So I don't know, just a thought. You gotta keep your mind active, like I say, and that's just what I'm doing. And I like to play around with this stuff anyway, so it makes sense to me anyway. what can I tell you? I'm a happy person as far as that goes because I have all this junk to play with, and I'm another man's garbage is one man's treasure, or whatever that saying is. That's the kind of the way I feel about it. I could go out there in the garage. I could keep myself occupied for a year with the stuff in the garage, just bringing stuff in one thing at a time and going over it. Like I said, those computers, the old computers, put those up on the bench and see if they power up. I think that would be kind of fun. The 128, the Commodore 128 I have out there has got the, and I can't remember what they called it, but it was the accelerator that I think it took it from whatever it was, 2 gigahertz to 4 gigahertz or something like that. Whatever it was, it multiplied the speed of it, and it was fun to play with too back in the day. And like I say, back in the day was back in the 80s. So you guys, this is just the way I like to do it, and that's just the way it works. Now, Bob, you all know Bob. He is working on our little project for BDEK today, and I'm gonna give you a shot of that just to show you what it looks like. And like I said, this is not the color we're gonna go with, but these were just ones I made. The color is more towards the actual color of this, that brown. And the speakers are mounted in there. You can't hardly see them. They're in there behind the X, and they're on both sides. And the way that's shaped, the sound obviously comes out the front. And like I said, this thing will be, have some decent capabilities. It has obviously line in, and has TF cards. You can put that in. Has USB, and of course Bluetooth. Who can forget Bluetooth? So. And the actual the display on this is not too bad either, and so. Like I said, these are something come up for the business. Actually, I said BDK. I think we're going to sell these as OGM type stuff, and you can see I've got the bottom screws in there. And like I said, this one was just this is obviously a prototype. So when we get some actual playable ones, I'll show you what they sound like and that. Now, they're not going to have the quality of sound that those OGM speakers had, but they're not going to sound too bad. And like I said, they're good little portable Bluetooth speaker, if nothing else, you could use. And of course, it's got FM. It's got everything that those little digital audio players come with. And like I said, these are decent little units here, and I like them about the best of any I've found so far. So, anywho, that's another look at that. I just kind of wanted to glance over everything that we're kind of messing with here, and I'm going to. Oh, here's the speakers that we use for those. Those are not the heavy duty ones. That they're same size, but they're obviously smaller magnets and cheaper speakers. But like I said, they still have a decent sound. And these happen to be the 4 ohm ones, so I think we've got 4 and 8 ohm speakers, that we ordered to test these out with. Bob is, like I say, currently working with his. He's got one printed up, and he's got all the same equipment I have as far as this, and he's doing some testing now on how long the battery life would be. He's using, I think, 18650 battery with a booster, and trying to, I think, run them at 9 volts is what he's running at. But when he gets his experiments done, we'll find out, basically what kind of battery life they get that way. They obviously can be plugged directly into power. We'll have that option. So, it's a good little player. Like I said, it's just kind of a fun little thing to play with, I guess. But so anyway, that's just something. Like I say, they're going to be browned with, I think. Bob talked. I think we're going to go with a black base. Now these bases are what comes off. When you take that, pop that off, you get all access and inside there, and you put all your speakers and your things like that. These will be a kit, by the way. And like I said, all that will be accessible, and then you put your bottom screws in it, and that's it. Now these panels here that the module is mounted to is just slide in. It doesn't, like I said, it's just made like that. And so it's got a little gap in it. I don't know if you can tell. Some of these, I think I probably need to go up a little bit more with the, and that's not been decided yet either. So, like I said, we can go up a little bit bigger, about a 1/2 millimeter, and make that a nice tight fit. So I don't think we'll probably do that. But like I said, this is what we're playing with on the business side of things. And anybody that's wondering about the speakers, I know Jim Newman, we sold a set of ones, I think I mentioned that, to him to fit his 4-inch speakers, and he was very pleased with those. Like I said, I think we're going to be able to sell a couple of those. I don't have them on a website or anything like that, and I think we're going to start off with them on our BDK because we have more traffic going to it than we would with the OGM stuff. So I think that's what we're going to do, is basically put them there and try them out there and see if we get any nibbles there. Again, we're not out much money as far as if they don't sell, but like I said, it's just a thought in our heads. We come up with this stuff, and it is or it isn't going to work. You never know until you try. Now here's one of the 8-ohm speakers that we've got. Now these are like the ones we use with the BDST2. They're the clear cone, I guess you would call them. And we have another set of these with a actual paper cone, and I don't know where they're at either, but I think that's the ones in here, come to think of it. Yeah, I think that's what that is. They're in here. Then we've got this set here that's 4-ohm, and we're going to try this one out also. I have a bunch of these printed up just to play around with. And like I said, it's just where we're at, what we're doing on this chilly Monday morning. At least we don't have, I think the snow is actually melting. Let me show you here, if you see this. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a lot of water dripping off that downspout there. I think they've got a leak there. They don't know it, but so the snow is melting, and it is 20. I think it's around 25 maybe, and sunny out there, and so the snow is actually melting pretty good. As you can see, there's a definite. It's almost running. In fact, it is running. That's how much it's dripping. So. Like I said, it won't be no time. Give a couple days of this. Even I think tomorrow is supposed to be a little colder, but it's supposed to still be sunny. And I think that sun will win out. It usually does. And we're back, like I say, on this, and we're gonna play around with it some more and see what we got. Also, I found the other. I know I'm covering a lot of ground here. I found the other HP. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I think I did. I think I've got a DC HP Compact DC 7700. It's got a slightly different case, more. I think it's more stylish actually. And I found that, and I brought that in too, and I'm maybe playing with that. But again, that would make a nice little server drive too, server system or whatever you want to call it. That to me is a much better way to do. Now they take up more room, obviously, but you know, at the same time, I think that they could be made to work out much better than these small drives like this, because these just didn't. Well, I guess they do now. I think the Synology brand's got the ones they've got out now is pretty good. I think they're running on some decent hardware. They got USB 3 connectors on them and stuff like that, and they're priced to match the capability as well. So that's one of the reasons I didn't buy one. I did see one at Goodwill on eBay, and it started out really cheap, but then it went over to $100 with still like 4 days to go. So I thought, well, there's no way that's gonna happen. So I stay with the cheap old junk, and that's the way it works. So I think we're gonna stop this here because we've basically run out of stuff to talk about. I know you guys probably find that hard to believe, but once in a while that does happen. And besides that, I want to get some more work done on this. I want to get that apart and do that, and that'll keep me busy for a while. So you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and we will